Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the this week's episode of the BuzzCast at videoshorts.com. I'm your host, loldbz, with Ghoulston here.
Memorize arcane button combos.
Oh. You know, I've been doing that all week. On my downtime, that is.
Really?
Yeah. When I get the time, I like to try to summon the Dark Lords with my arcane button combos in Street Fighter V. When I get the chance. Or so time says. We've been looking at a couple of things this week. One of them being the top 50 of time's best video games ever. Some of which include Super Smash Brothers. Not really telling us which Super Smash Brothers. Maybe there's just one. Maybe they're referring to the whole thing. And Rise of the Tomb Raider. But we'll get to some of that later. This week we're also going to be talking about the PlayStation Now service, which is a cool update. It's going to actually come into PC, and it's kind of crazy, kind of cool, kind of disappointing for me because I bought a PS3 and never used it, planning to think that one day I'll need a PS3 to play PS3 games, but I probably won't need it anymore. So it's good for most people, bad for me. And then the 25th anniversary is upon us for the SNES. Definitely one of my favorite consoles, and I'm sure a lot of other people have a warm spot in their heart for it as well. And going on to things that people don't have a warm spot for, we saw a drop in users for No Man's Sky and Pokemon Go, both around the same time. I noticed a dip. One of them sooner than the other, but that's the way it goes. And then we'll be wrapping up with one of the Melee tournaments that occurred here just last week. So, Ghoulston, where do we even begin with all this?
Before we begin, I feel like it's nice to make a shout out to a portly little plumber that recently had a bit part at a big closing ceremony. Mario showed up at the Olympics the last day. The Prime Minister of Japan, whose name I don't remember and is not important, made an appearance, but it was like a little short film, like a 2-minute thing about how oh no, I'm not going to make it to Rio in time for the Olympics closing. And he employed the services of some of his Japanese friends, since the Olympics are going to be in Tokyo in 4 years. So characters such as Hello Kitty and Pac-Man and whatever the hell Doraemon is were in a little short. But it concluded with them building a pipe as the Prime Minister of Japan transformed into Mario, jumped into a pipe, and tunneled through the center of the Earth, likely causing it to explode at some point in the future. We're on the wait out for that. But he appeared on the other side in Rio. He was literally dressed up as Mario, and he shed his uniform to reveal holding a ball out of power.
One of Mario's signature balls in his hands.
We all know when Mario gets all 7 of those balls, though. Gets Super Mario.
Nothing held back at that point when he contains all the 7 balls. Is this something that they do all the time, though? Like at the end of the Olympics, I've never followed it that closely. Do they reveal like the next Olympic location or what? Like is that
they always know where the Olympics is going to be, like far ahead, because there's like all these intense bidding wars and showing off for the Olympic Committee. Like
it's not like predated by the Mayan calendar or anything.
No, they already knew that Tokyo was going to be next. However, Japan being who they are, a little crazy due to radiation poisoning from a few bombs, they felt the need to go above and beyond the Call of Duty in the closing ceremony to make this fun little short. So, I like it.
I thought it was cool. It reminded me of this comic book thing of DuckTales, where they had to tunnel to the bottom of the or middle of the Earth to retrieve this stuff that what is it called? The universal solvent or something like that. Anyway, it was about to eat the core of the Earth, so they had to dig to the bottom in a giant shaft. And and as Mario was going down, you could see his center of gravity shifting. That was kind of cool. I don't know. I enjoyed the short. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it also implies that they're going to have video games at the next Olympics. So
no.
Well, Mario might be there.
They actually, not to continue prattling on about the Olympic stuff, but it's their system for Olympics is like, it's so dredged up and like gummed up in the works. Like they literally had to approve of what's going to be in the Olympics for 4 years ahead of time, like recently. So like the only things that are being added to the Tokyo Games are extreme sports and like surfing. There's like 5 things that are being added. None of them are video games.
Well, there should be some like Mario things there, Nintendo things, right?
I mean, they have to make a mascot for every Olympics, so I don't see why it would be impossible for them to make something.
What was the mascot? Like the mosquito?
It looked like no. It was a mosquito. It was like a colorful like monkey. He had like really tall legs. That he looked like an Adventure Time cartoon.
Oh.
It was a cool little design. I liked it, but I don't remember the name of it.
I might have seen this, but I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, well,
it's all right.
I didn't know they had mascots for this stuff.
Every time, yeah.
Really?
You should look at some of the old mascots. They're really weird and creepy. Like the 50s. They tried. An effort was given, I suppose.
Huh.
But I suppose Mario's done toying around with Sonic. He's ready for the real competitors. Ready to hit the big time.
Well, I hope it's cool. 2020 is supposed to be a cool year because it's 2020. You know, it's been talked about a lot over the years.
It just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, how can you?
And,
it's got to be a big deal. They better have some cool stuff going on in 2020.
Yeah, and a lot of people would say that Mario himself is a pretty big deal, which is why he, time and time again, gets called out for being one of the greatest video game characters from one of the greatest video games. Greatest series, really. And I suppose, I don't know why the timing of this happened now, but Time Magazine runs the website time.com. They have a article right now titled Best 50 Games of All Time. All time. Meaning that, this is it. It doesn't, there's no up for debate, this is my own personal opinion. No, these are just, this is what you have to adhere to. This is it.
Yeah, there's nothing more definite than the source of time itself. So you can't really refute this.
Not many things stand the test of it.
Yeah, and this is basically all 50 that did stand to it. And
allegedly.
Well, it's how it is.
But the list contains things such as King's Quest III, Angry Birds. You mentioned in the intro Super Smash Brothers. No real specific one, just Super Smash Brothers.
But a screenshot of Melee, for what it's worth.
It says Super Smash Brothers, but it shows Melee. So
and the description is terrible, by the way. They define Super Smash Brothers as a what is it, like an
elaborate variant of King of the Hill.
Yeah, that's it. King of the Hill. So, I've never heard that used to refer to Super Smash Bros. I've never heard anyone call it an elaborate game of King of the Hill. I've never heard, if anyone referenced King of the Hill and Smash Brothers, it was never about the game type. That's for sure. It's
well, I mean, I the more I think about it, the more I get it, because if you're playing like Halo and it's King of the Hill, you just want to stay on a specific point the longest, make sure that no one else is on
the goal is staying on there longest. It's not just.
But in Super Smash Bros., the whole level is the point, so you're knocking them off.
You can call any fighting game King of the Hill, then, where the center is king, and then you're in the corner, and then you're losing. Like it's so dumb. It's the worst.
It's not the best way to describe it to an old man who's like,
no, because I can.
Smash
The thing is, when I read this description, I can actually be the person who looked at this, didn't know what the game was, and then came up with their own idea of what the game was, and then made an article on time.com about this game. It almost infuriates me if it weren't so stupid. Like, someone who knew nothing about this wrote this, and that's I don't know. They had like 8 people making this list.
Yeah, 7 people worked together. They had 150 nominees, and they came down to these 50. Kind of curious what the cut 100 were. If things such as Microsoft Flight Simulator X gets to be number 23 all-time greatest game.
Infamously bad? I thought it was.
I mean,
I don't know if is it iconic?
The description says, next time you're on a commercial flight, ask your pilot if they've ever played Flight Simulator growing up. Odds are the answer will be yes.
Well, that's
I
probably a bad game.
I don't think so.
It's probably, like, and is this? I don't even know what it's. I thought that was like a really bad game. I can't remember. Like I don't think it's actually a game that you should be playing. It's a game you may learn from. It's not a good game. Like they could have given that spot to like Super Mario Maker or something. I mean, I thought looking at this they were going like some year cutoff, but then they didn't because they had that new Tomb Raider on there.
Yeah, they had the Rise of the Tomb Raider at number 18, which that came out in 2015. Came out 2015, so I mean, you could say that doesn't really belong there.
Yeah. Also, I can't imagine it being that good. It's what, it got number 17 or something?
18.
18? That's still really high. I mean, this is time, I guess. Yeah, of all time. Of time.com.
It's saying that it's better than stuff like Final Fantasy VII and Halo Combat Evolved and StarCraft 2.
Yeah, that's just insulting.
Yeah, the list is a little weird. I mean, there's things like Oregon Trail and top 10. The number one.
What was number 50 though? Like I looked at it, I was like, I don't even know what this is.
It is.
I'm not well versed.
King's Quest.
Yeah, and Zork. And like, I don't know what Zork is. I thought that was
Zork
like.
Zork was revolutionary for being one of the best, or I'm not sure at first, but the text-based adventure game.
Yeah, I wasn't really big on those. I guess at the time there was not much else to do, though. They're very easy to create for.
And I think that's an issue with this list, is because it says best video games all time, and you immediately think, okay, these games are the best to play, these are the best. Number 1 is Link to the Past, or number 2 is Super Metroid. Super Metroid's not even on the list, by the way. That's a whole other issue. But I think that this is pretty much just trying to say that like these are some of the greatest things, innovations, and accomplishments in gaming, such as Zork, such as Guitar Hero, such as Flight Simulator X. What they did to the industry should be acknowledged, and I guess that's what this list is about. And I guess I can agree with that.
I guess if you look at it piece by piece like that, you can kind of.
I don't really see how Rise of the Tomb Raider fits in there.
It's probably something about like gender progressive stuff or whatever. Like what did they do? They freed the stereotypical portrayal of Lara Croft or whatever. Yeah.
Well, they had that was I know it wasn't that one. There was a Tomb Raider before that was new.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Maybe Rise of... Yeah, I think that was the first one, wasn't it? That's when she rose from. She had to rise before she could fall.
Yeah. No, she fell, then she rose, yeah.
She fell and no, I think she rose and then she fell. She was a baby. She had to get up, in her infancy.
I guess that makes sense.
But I've seen some screenshots of that game, and actually maybe it's like its accomplishment in making like the most brutal deaths in the video game that you can do. Like it's pretty bad. Some of the way she dies, surprisingly,
like straight through the gut, and like since it's all HD, have realistic.
The one that won't get out of my head is when she's going down like a river and like and her neck just gets impaled by this giant like sickle-shaped branch, and it's just like she's like suffocating on her own blood and bark, and it's just terrible.
She has more bark than bite.
I guess. But Yeah, maybe that's the accomplishment. And in that case, I might give it to it. I still think Super Mario Maker should have been on here somewhere. I think it's one of the best, like, kind of like, I don't know, create your own shit game in a while.
I mean, if you're going that angle, then I suppose so. Something like Little Big Planet probably could have been on here too. But I think they, in the place of a create your own experience, they chose Minecraft, which they put at number 6 on this list.
I guess they can argue that.
You could argue that, it's a sandbox game, sandbox building blocks game. I think that this is kind of hard to rank innovations, because, like, who's to say that the innovation of the sports game is better than the innovation of Pong? Who's to say that the World War II shooter is more important than Resident Evil 4's leap from original style to the action-based horror that made Resident Evil come to life once again?
Metroid Prime was a pretty good adaptation. I like that
Prime
one.
isn't on the list, so it's not important.
Yeah, Metroid isn't even on there. It's not even a game. I mean, Nintendo agrees. They haven't made a game for that in 10 years?
If it got on the list, I bet we'd get a real Metroid game.
But no one cared, so they're not going to even bother.
You blew it.
Yeah. We tried.
There's only one Zelda game, I think, right? Yeah, there's only one Zelda, the original Zelda, at number 7.
Yeah, all the other Zeldas don't count. They had it right the first time. That's why they had to make Breath of the Wild, so that they can come back to their roots. Their former glory.
Open their eyes.
Speaking of which, I'm playing that game. That's for sure.
Oh, yes. Breath of the Wild's going to be amazing. I strongly look forward to that.
Yeah, they're going to have to make this list over again when that game comes out.
Well, see, again, that's where I was going earlier with saying that it's a list of all-time stuff, but I feel like it's a little wrong to have something like Rise of the Tomb Raider there. It could be like the most amazing game ever made.
Oh yeah, backtrack.
Because it's new, I feel like its impact on history and its impact on the industry or whatever can't be properly measured. No Man's Sky could arguably be put on this list because of what it does, and we'll talk about that later, but it's still so new. I'm sure if Time Magazine gave a shit about getting extra clicks, they would have shoveled Undertale or
Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go actually did do something crazy though. I mean, in some
yeah,
right.
But it's all too new.
It's too new.
So.
Oh, but we did miss Ocarina of Time was also on there, so that's 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
yeah,
2.
Ocarina of Time is number 2.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good game. I mean,
no, it's 3.
It's 3, whatever.
Mario 64 is 2.
Right.
But yeah, those are both great games. I feel like those games contend on a list of highest quality, most fun games of all time. So I'm okay with them putting up there. I guess this is a loaded question, and feel free to completely dance around it. But if you had to do I'll make it even super easy. Just top 3, any order. Great games, best games. Your favorites, at least. You could go objective with an all-encompassing idea, or you can just go your own personal.
Oh, now you're making it complicated. Now I gotta decide if I want to go personal or if I want to go all time.
Going personal is easy.
Yeah, it is. Well, even then, darn.
Because to go all time would be me saying I don't like Super Metroid, but I think Super Metroid could go top 3. Not a fan of Metroid in general, but I think that what that game is, what they continue to find out about that game, all the little things that go into it, the little bits and pieces here and there, the pretty amazing game.
That's true. For mine, I would definitely put Super Mario World and Twilight Princess personally. I can't think of a third one right now. I know there's an obvious answer.
Borderlands 2.
No.
Damn.
Not at all. I'm pondering this. It's going to come to me in just a moment. What's that one game that I always like to go back to? Man, I don't know. Yeah, I like Pokemon. Pokemon Trading Card Game is pretty good too. it's a good game to go back to every now and then.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I can't really like just dish it out. But those two games are really good to me. But honestly, I know Twilight Princess isn't like one of the best games ever or anything. A lot of people don't really like it for the same reason I do. I think Ocarina of Time was one of the best games for most people, and I think that one had like one of the best transitions from 2D to 3D. I think Metroid Prime also though is kind of like neck and neck with it, honestly, in that respect. I really like that game. Metroid Prime is one of my favorite games, and I think from an objective standpoint, it's one of the better. It's most steps forward as well. I'm gonna try really hard not to make this a Nintendo list.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's so easy to do though, because they've been around forever and they just hit it out of the park most of the time. They get their hands on a property. They just do a really great job, and I don't think it's wrong to say that. If you need more time to think, I think I have.
I would be leaning toward Halo, honestly.
Really?
Yes, because I
one.
Well, I mean, Halo is a thing. I'd probably put say Halo and then put like Halo 2 there, just and then say how it's elaborate game of King of the Hill.
You're gonna write the word Halo and then put a picture of Halo 2.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I'll need 6 other editors to help me out. But when I played it at first, it kind of just, for me, I wasn't really big on FPS, but the way the game presented itself made it really appealing for some reason or another when I was younger, and it's mixed with like sci-fi and how the weapons are kind of different or evolved. It kind of makes it stand out a bit from the other games at the time. Of course, it kind of got normalized over the years, but I think Halo 1 and especially Halo 2 really had had something really good going for it, and it was unfortunately short-lived, relatively. But I mean, at the time, they had a kind of a newer, I guess relatively new developer coming out with this, and
Bungie.
Well, I don't know. I can't remember what they actually did otherwise, honestly.
I think they did a lot of weird like PC stuff.
Yeah, they did. I mean, but they weren't really like recognized until around that point.
No.
I think they kind of took this really standard boring I won't say boring because a lot of people like Counter-Strike and stuff. I just didn't really care for it. I think they kind of expanded the FPS genre a bit, made it a little bit more varied, and also kind of put a cool spin on it.
Especially on console.
It was really polished. The game was really well done. Like you can say whatever you want about Halo and everything, but the game was really well done.
And this is all from a single player point of view, I'm imagining, and it's not even tapping into.
I did play the multiplayer a lot too.
Oh yeah,
the Halo 2, yeah,
cool.
Yeah. I actually met a few people online, and actually I met up with them later too. Yeah, we fucked a little bit. No,
Halo and chill.
Yeah. But I mean, I have a personal attachment to it, I guess. But I'm not the person who plays those kind of games normally, so I think that kind of owes to its accomplishment in a sense. But I mean, just looking at it objectively, it's a very well polished game, and it definitely evolved the FPS genre a bit. So I would put that up there.
Evolved.
Yeah, exactly. So that's mine. But you can go. It's your turn.
Well, I mean, for me, if I'm going personal, I'd have to say that just because of how much I've played it in my lifetime, and I just always go back to it, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is for what it was. I mean, I loved Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 as a kid, but when like Sonic 3 came out, it was like, oh wow, it's more, and these levels are so expansive. I'm like exploring them more rather than just kind of like going rapid fire through them. And the getting the emeralds, of course, is all fun. But then they came out of and Knuckles. I was like, what? And I locked that shit on, and I was like, oh my god, there's another half. It's glorified cartridge-based DLC, but it worked out really well.
That was a real cool novelty.
Package, yeah, the little lock on, and then you could lock it on to Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 for other things also.
Yeah, you can put Knuckles there too.
Knuckles and Sonic 2, and for Sonic 1, it just gave you like infinite bonus levels.
Wait, Do you really got Knuckles in Sonic 2? I can't remember.
Yeah. The only problem with Knuckles in Sonic 2 is that the final boss, it's like really fucking hard to hit the final boss because he doesn't jump as high as Sonic. So it's like, if you want to challenge, go play final boss as Knuckles, because I guarantee you're gonna fucking game over.
Now, do you think they made Sonic 3 knowing that they'd add Knuckles? Do you think the game was a complete game with just 3 itself?
It probably could have been. I mean, it released Sonic and Knuckles came out a year later, and there's definitely parts in Sonic 3 where it's like, I can't go there. How do I get through that part? Oh well. And then like a year later, it was like, oh my god, I can just punch through it with Knuckles. It's perfect. This is like random order, by the way. I don't feel like saying which is number 1 for me, but Sonic 3 and Knuckles is 1. That's one game. I guess I'd have to honestly put Cave Story up there. I don't want to, but playing it again recently, Cave Story is just a great little package. It lasts about 4 hours. You know, if you know what you're doing, then you can go through even faster. But it's just so tight, and everything about it is really good. Even the remake, or not remake, I guess the port, Cave Story Plus, where they changed the music and graphics to be more modern. Still good. Fun times, and I suppose just for sake of variety, I'll say Final Fantasy IX, number 3. I don't want to make it all platformers. I could easily say Mega Man 9 is up there. Donkey Kong Country. Oh, shit. Donkey Kong Country 2. I can't believe I forgot that one.
Mega Man X. Oh, no.
No. All right. Forget Cave Story. Fuck that game. Donkey Kong Country 2 is my favorite game of all time. That's number 1.
Yeah, you sure that remember all these. Oh, yeah, shit, Donkey Kong. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I own multiple copies of that.
Oh, yeah? I really like Donkey Kong 1. I didn't play Donkey Kong 2, but I remember it very well. It's pretty good. I just had more experience with Donkey Kong 1. But Donkey Kong 2, I will tell you, is the game that taught me to always go backwards in a level. That's where I first learned it.
Oh, yeah. The secrets are a bit silly. Like, sometimes you just gotta jump in a hole and just like, yeah, this is where the secret is, I know it.
No, but like, at the start of the level is where this coin is. You literally start and then go backwards to find it.
You have to go left.
Yeah,
we're just so trained to go from left to right. The secrets in that game are great. The platforming is fun. The animal buddies are fun. Good graphics.
Yeah, we never got buddies again like that.
They had the elephant in 3. And you can ride Rambi in the remake, the new ones.
Yeah, that's stupid. Why did we never see any other like critters? So they were just cameos. Like, oh, it's a little buff. It'll find secrets.
Oh, look, that background looks like the ostrich.
Remember the ostrich? Remember the bananas made the ostrich?
Oh. Remember the bananas birds?
But yeah, Donkey Kong 1 was really, really neat. Donkey Kong 2, I think, refined it and improved, which is a good thing to see in a sequel.
And 3 was really weird.
I never played 3. I just didn't like that big monkey kid.
Chunky.
I don't like that name either. But,
no, I'm sorry. That's Kitty Kong. Oh. That's even worse.
Okay, yeah. I don't like that either. Kitty, Chunky, whatever.
But no monkey.
No, those are all good games. I want to play them again, of course. I want to do that a lot. I say that a lot about every game, but I never do. That's the way it is.
If I were going like greatest all time though, I'd have to just like it's like such like a cop out, but it's just like I'd say Link to the Past, Final Fantasy VI, and I guess I'll say Super Mario 64 because it's the 3D aspect of it. But I mean, you could play it with the idea of greatest game of all time easily. You know,
people are still playing it to improve their.
I haven't even played Final Fantasy VI on the way. I just acknowledge it as like that's the one everyone says is so great.
Oh really? You don't even know why it's good? Like I don't even know. Like I can't keep track of this. I don't know what the difference between 5, 6, whatever. You know. So I'm taking your word for it.
Conversation for another time. I don't want to talk about the greatest games of all time for too long.
For all time.
But I know what we could talk about. You mentioned not wanting to be a little too heavy in your Nintendo love, well, now you'll have a way to experience some Sony love in the future. For those that don't feel like buying a console, you can now PS Now get a little dongle, a little stick you jam in your computer in order to help you gain access to.
I don't think that's how it works.
PlayStation Now. Don't worry about it.
No, the dongle's just for the controller, which I don't think is necessary. But the PS Now thing, unfortunately, you don't need a dongle. That would be kind of silly. But it's kind of like, I guess, a Steam platform basically, but you have to pay like $20 a month. So, but no, the whole thing is it's not. Yeah, it's a rental. You get to access all these dumb games.
You subscribe to PlayStation Now, which is a library of over 400 games from the PS3, specifically PS3, and you get to access them all. But it's $20 a month or $45 for 3 months, which there's obvious savings if you can do the math there. And I think that's great for people that can just like, okay, you know what? I know what I want to do this month. I want to get through all of, I don't know.
That'd be a cool challenge.
Eternal Sonata. Let's see how many of these PS.
Yeah, just take a month off work and be like, I'm going to play all the PS3 games ever.
But it is streaming from their network, so I hope that it all works fine. I'm not sure if there would be any issues with it or not. But when they say like 400 plus games, that just sounds like, oh, whatever, you know, shorter our advertisement. And no, it's like literally 400 games. Like, I'm looking at the list, you know, it's massive.
Yeah, sure. PS3 has games? You're saying it has 400?
Turns out the meme was just that.
Are you sure?
There is a lot of.
I was like, are there like exclusives though?
No, I'm positive. There are exclusives, but there are a lot of the third-party games in here as well. Just to name off things as I scroll through the list, there's things like Devil May Cry 4, Disgaea 4, God of War, and they made those HD, so the God of War 1, 2 from PS2 are also on there. Like Resident Evil 4, 5, 6 are on here. Uncharted 1, 2, 3 are on here.
It's a good question, though. What is it exactly? Because they call it a video streaming service, and like what is it?
I think it will probably be fine.
Because I remember this existed a long time ago. I don't know if anyone remembers this. This might be before you. Yeah, that's it. OnLive. That was like the first time this was ever like an idea where you'd have like, oh, you don't need a good computer. You just get on OnLive, and like that thing is dead as hell. It was dead like moments after it came out, which kind of gives a good segue to the next section. But yeah, OnLive was this little thing that's supposed to solve all hardware issues, and that's why it was kind of a popular idea back in the day. Is it that allowed people to play good games and high level games at amazing quality on shitty computers, because it was streaming from a hardware that was miles and miles away. But it ended up fizzling really, really quickly, and that's because it didn't work. And hey, that sounds a lot like No Man's Sky, which just came out like a week ago, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't keep track. The game came out, not too long ago, and now people are issuing for refunds. A lot of people are, and a lot of the people are doing that because, first of all, they're finding very few things to do once they beat the game, which actually didn't take quite as long as the creator had hoped, and no multiplayer was actually found in the game, like literal playing with other people. I don't know what kind of multiplayer they were actually trying to describe, but this combination of things kind of led to a game that did not live up to the hype. If it were just like a game that came out on its own and it was just like, hey, this is a game on Steam, here's an ad for it, you never heard of it, give it a shot. A lot of people would be like, hey, this is kind of cool, give it a shot. And it might have like had a couple of discussion points here and there, but this game has been hyped up for years. It was like, what, three E3s ago?
It's been It's been around forever.
Yeah, and then Sony like picked it up as its baby, and then kind of threw it around and advertised the hell out of it. I was calling it Sport 2 for a while, and I don't think I was too far off. It's overall been disappointing for most people, and it's not doing too well anymore.
No,
I don't think. Although they probably got their money out of it, as far as But
there was no like subscription or anything. They just needed people to buy it the first time.
Yeah, and play it for like 2 hours. Man.
I'm willing to bet there's a lot of refunds that are going to be hitting them on this. But according to sites such as Steam database, things that track concurrent amount of players, the high point when it launched 2 weeks ago was sitting around 200,000 players. 1 week from then, the original launch date was August 12th. 1 week later, August 19th, concurrent amount of players was about 40,000. So that's a drop of 160,000 players concurrently playing on Steam. I can't imagine what also was for the PS4 version, although I'm willing to bet that maybe less players, maybe more players, who knows, but I'm sure the drop was somewhere around the same, and the current players just keeps going down. It's actually at today, current recording time is at 12,000. Or sorry, 1,200. I'm reading this so bad. Yeah, 12,000.
It's rough. But what's even more rough of a fall from grace is Pokemon Go.
The little Pokemon that could, the great sensation, reinventing the world.
It really did have a good run. I mean, honestly, this fall was inevitable. No one can play this game. I mean, I didn't play it, but from what I could tell, it's a very simple game, and no one could possibly play this for that long. So the fact that they got so many people to play it, like so many people, like it's a phenomenal amount of people. Literally, it's a phenomenon, and they can't all play it for that long. So you're going to see a big drop off eventually.
Yeah,
everyone's going to realize at the same time it's time to move on. So the big fall comes after the big growth that they had. It was inevitable, and also apparently they didn't really get to expand on it that much, and they still had some tech issues and a lot of missteps. So they weren't able to really nurture that growth.
From the people I contact for Pokemon Go information, they tell me that updates to the game were actually making it worse and just harder to find Pokemon, and they made it more difficult to track Pokemon, and it's like all they're catching are just like endless Pidgeys and Zubats, so like they're not finding what they want. And I mean, that's kind of compared in addition to all the server problems that people have trying to get on, that made people just like give up on it. That's how you go from the peak number of 45 million that's how you go for the peak number of 45 million people playing at once around mid-July to a month later where we're down 15 million active players. Which, I mean, if you think about it, still 30 million players.
It also kind of corresponds with back to school stuff.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, most of the people playing this are kids that are still in preschool, so they gotta get their pencils and erasers and backpacks together, prepare for education. This is a sensitive time of the year. Back to school, that's all everyone's thinking about. There's kids, mourning the loss of their summer, and then there's moms getting their 2-page list of bullshit. It's all it is. So. Not to say that that's the only reason the Pokemon Go is going down, but it's probably part of the reason. There's a big transition area right now, and then of course it's gonna have to compete with a lot of other things, Pokemon Go, because there's gonna be more limited time for these kids to do these things.
I'm willing to bet that the Pokemon Go audience was cut into by the No Man's Sky audience. I genuinely believe this. I mean, that's the kind of game where you just sit there and play it for like 10 hours and get nothing done. And why walk around, or why use your dumb bots to, harvest Pokemon when you can walk the endless no man's scape of No Man's Sky?
I doubt that. I mean, it's not multiplayer game at all. People like that multiplayer aspect. You can't meet people like you can in Pokemon Go. If you could, then maybe it would be a game worth playing. But no, I don't think there's much overlap there. But I think there is some overlap in the themes of both of their downfalls, for sure. That was not being able to, live up to the hopes and dreams of all the people that were either anticipating the game or playing the game and hoping it would develop into the game they wanted. Unfortunately, Pokemon Go became progressively worse, and that's it. No Man's Sky was just worse than what it was promised to be. So naturally, people are going to jump ship. But can you blame them?
No.
The same thing, honestly, this happened to me, too. I had a game I was invested in. That was Star Wars, The Old Republic. I have my own reasons. Very good reasons. I like Star Wars games a lot. I played Star Wars Galaxies for... how many years? Shoot. Like 6 years? It's a long time. I played it a lot in my youth. And unfortunately, it just became progressively worse. The game started becoming normalized to other MMOs trying to compete with World of Warcraft.
Right.
To the point that it was really, really bad. Like, completely neutered. The game didn't make any sense. It was really, really bad. So that game died. And I had been waiting for a Star Wars MMO forever. Because I kept trying to find, I want to play an MMO. Everyone sucked. All of them sucked. Everyone sucked. So, every time I played it, I was like, okay, well, I guess MMOs aren't for me. And then this game starts coming out, and I'm like, okay, this is it. This has to be good. It's made by BioWare. It's Star Wars. It's got $1 billion budget. It can't go wrong. And then it did go so very wrong. It just kept getting worse with every patch. And then literally the server that I was on collapsed into another one. I lost my username, and I never played the game again at that point. It literally just deleted itself. The game did, basically.
Damn.
So that may be what these people feel like. And
the servers collapsing into each other.
And I sympathize with it to an extent. And of course, in that situation, you can't blame anyone for moving on. Because really, they don't have a choice. Their game's dead.
I mean, your story is pretty much a great parallel, because Pokemon Go was... I mean, you could argue that it wasn't exactly what it looked like, at launch and what that was promised, but it was still, the game that people liked. But they kept nitpicking it. They kept changing little things and just drove people away. And with No Man's Sky, they showed a completely different project than what was released, to the point where I believe someone on Reddit made a huge list of almost 600 different inconsistencies from what they were shown to what actually was released. So, it's just people were invested for your product for what they saw originally, not all these little changes that you think you need to make for quality of life, because by making those quality of life changes, you're actually just killing your own game. So sucks, but maybe it'll play better games. Maybe it'll play more games. More is good.
Variety's good. I said 6 years. I think I was like 4 years. Everything bleeds together when you get old, I guess.
The MMO life is a grind.
It really is. But I enjoyed it. That's something I look fondly back on. It's a long time ago, and it doesn't exist anymore. But I wonder who are the people who still have the game they really, really enjoy and still play it in the same way. Is it Counter-Strike? Is that it? What? Who are the people who have World of Warcraft? I guess, kind of, almost.
I hear that their new expansion is gonna help, and I also heard that they might make official vanilla servers, so that'd be nice. But I don't play World of Warcraft, so I don't care. Maybe these changes will inspire people to, instead of waiting for the next big thing, to perhaps look back at some of the greatest. I can recommend a 25-year-old baby boy console, the SNES. 25 years old as of this past week, which means that everyone's once white and now yellowish tinted console is pretty old. It's a quarter of a century. And I mean, that's just you could say that for a lot of things. Like I'm sure, like PlayStation 3 is 10 years old now. But I would argue that the SNES, since we were talking about best games ever, I'd call the SNES one of the best consoles ever.
That's a tough claim to make, but I think I'd probably almost agree with you. But I think I'm too biased on that. But it was definitely one of my favorite games, and man, I really wish I had all those cartridges I had. I had so many bullshit games.
I've tried to reclaim my library. Not really. I guess I've just tried to rebuild it. I mean, I have not many as cartridges I had past, but I've done the diligence to get stuff like Donkey Kong Country and Mario World, and even like the weird stuff that I played as a kid, like WWE Royal Rumble. I'm sorry, WWF. It wasn't E back then. No E.
I like having those things. I just hate moving them, so I hate having things by that association. I hate it. But it would be nice. I don't have an SNES. Unfortunately, if you get any SNES nowadays, they're completely yellowed, and that's just how the material they made ages. Unfortunately,
I have a Model 2. So
yeah, the Model 2. I got one after. You know what? I really wish I were better as a kid. For some reason, I just can't remember. I know I had a consoles like the old ones, and then I don't know, that just didn't work anymore. If it died, it exploded.
Poured a whole glass of juicy juice into it.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to it, but then we had to get a Model 2 later. And I remember that box.
I know I was terrible with my stuff as a kid.
I don't know. I think as a kid, it's just hard to... I mean, I was good with my stuff, I remember, but it's hard to really like keep that value. So whenever it's easy to get swindled by like GameStop points and stuff, I think is what happened. Well, with that one though, I think the SNES probably died from wear and tear. Honestly, I used the hell out of it, and it just couldn't withstand all the cartridge abuse. Inserting and taking it out and putting it back in over and over again. Eventually it's gonna die. It probably wasn't really meant to live that long. The one thing I do remember though, I have a GameCube. That GameCube, I don't know where the original one was. The purple one, that was my first one. This is a black GameCube, and this GameCube was broken, allegedly. I found it at home, and it was my brother's, and it wasn't working anymore. I remember it not working. It wasn't reading discs. So I took a little hydrogen peroxide and rubbed the lens a little bit. And I recalled something when I was doing this, because it fixed it. I recall, as a kid, looking at my Sega Saturn, opening up the disc tray, reading the fine print near the laser says, "Do not touch this." And I touched it, and then it stopped working. So that's probably what happened to the GameCube. Just as an aside, don't touch those lasers. They're very sensitive.
I touched them all the time. Because like I had sometimes trouble reading the disc, so like, I'll just wipe the lens, whatever. I'll just like rub it like vigorously.
Yeah, that's just getting our fingerprints on it.
I thought I was helping.
No, but hydrogen peroxide works like a charm. I don't know why, but I don't know. Like you touch it and like it kind of like depresses a little bit, and it's all like smooth and stuff. Like who doesn't want to touch a little button like that? It's not a button, but it's too appealing. They should have hidden it away or something.
Yeah, that's why a lot of consoles have gone with the just push your disc into it and you can't touch it system.
I think that's why they had to. I mean, it's just too tempting. I don't even use my GameCube for its disc reader anymore, even though it works. I use it as a Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, which it works really well for. So, what are you gonna do?
But to that point, I've lost a lot of great, game stuff. It's not like I, got angry at Earthbound and threw it or something like that. I didn't do anything that bad, but I used to have a Sega CD. I used to have Super Mario RPG cartridge. Little things like that I wish I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know where they are. I don't know where my Dreamcast is. I mean, I'm pretty sure I gave it to GameStop.
Yeah,
I just
probably.
wish I didn't.
But SNES is 25 years old, so I think that I don't think anybody needs an excuse to revisit these things, especially with emulation being so easy to do.
Do you think they'll make an SNES Mini in like 25 years or whatever?
I don't see why they couldn't, because stuff like
what games would they
Kirby
put on
Superstar,
Yeah.
Kirby Superstar, Link to the Past, Final Fantasy VI,
Super Mario World, of course.
Super Metroid.
Yeah, these are all no-brainers.
Donk, Yoshi's Island.
Oh, but they couldn't emulate it, though. They can't remake that game.
Yeah, they would have to be like a cartridge reader thing on the inside.
Yeah, just for that one. They'd have to somehow emulate the impossible to emulate FX chip or whatever. Whatever they say. I don't know.
F-Zero.
F-Zero is a scary game. How many did they put on SNES? Like 25?
Oh, the Mini? NES Mini?
Yeah.
30, I believe.
30.
I believe 30.
And then they can put those random ass games on there, too. But there's some really good games on that. I want to say I'm partial to the Wii because of all the things it can do. And all the time I played on it. But the SNES also, in my youth, tons and tons of time on those games. So many odd games that you can get that just don't make any sense, but they're there. It wasn't the hardest thing to develop for. I had played some very strange games. I don't know. So when I was young, I didn't see my dad much, but he would come and he would buy me things in passing, in his time there.
Good dad.
Like dinosaur figurines and
hell yeah,
SNES cartridges games. And it took me a while to realize that the fact that it had the Best Buy sticker probably meant it was stolen. Well, rented and never given back. But they were shitty games. Like, man, I can't remember. One of them was that stupid toy, the thing with what's Robin Williams was in, like that movie.
Oh, yeah.
The toys, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it. That was it. It was a shitty game. Let me tell you, it's a bad game. I couldn't get past it. And then another game that I took forever to try to figure out. So I was in one of these threads where like, hey, identify these old games for me, okay? I drew this picture because I remembered the cartridge, and someone told me what it was. Some fucker knew how this shitty game, and it was Big Sky Troopers. I have no idea how you play that game. I played it for a while. I played it off and on. I was like, okay, it's been 5 years now. I'm sure I'm smart enough to figure this game out. And I could not progress in this game. And then there was some game, side-scroller. You were like actually, I don't think you were a unit at all, but you created like these units, and you kind of tried to defend your base in a way. But it was like with wizards, and I described this before. I think Leon actually identified it. I can't remember it anymore. But yeah, lots of games that were like you couldn't remember because they weren't memorable, but they were fun at the time. Oh, Smart Ball though, that's a good game. That's a good no-name game. I streamed it. I will stream it again. It is a good game. That's definitely one that anyone curious about some off the grid SNES games. That's a good one. I never forget that one. Do you have any particular
gems?
Gems, yeah, I guess. Gems or not gems? Gems that don't shine?
I have no idea why I'm so fond of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but I really like that game a lot. I guess it was just like that one game growing up that was just like so frantic and like, oh, just go, grab the neighbor, go. Just like, like playing with my brother and just like having such an air of frantic, nonstop, just kind of keep playing. And it was also like balls hard, so we never beat it. I never got even close. I eventually beat it like a year ago, but like considering that it took me about 15 years of life to get the comprehension to beat that game, it was really fun growing up playing that with my brother. Sunset Riders is also the same kind of situation for me. It's just, cowboys shooting guns. Easy, good time. I think a strange, I wouldn't call it strange, a fun memory for me was with Super Mario RPG, and that's not really fringe at all, but the way we played it was because it was me, my brother, and neighbor from across the street. We would play the game as a character each. So we would pass the controller for every single character. You're like, oh, you're Mario, you're Gino, you're Mallow. I got fucking stuck with Mallow, but whatever. I was the Mallow. But it was like, yeah, we'll make a 3-player by passing the controller around. Oh, don't do that. You'll use your Star Storm. I don't want to. That kind of stuff. It was the kind of memories I'll probably never have again, but I had a good time with them. I think the SNES was just dandy. I can't think of anything else. I actually didn't own an SNES. I just had my neighbor friend bring it over all the time.
I didn't have an N64 for a long time, and I had to go to my neighbors to play it. I'll admit, a lot of the times I went there, I just wanted to play the N64. But, he had Smash Brothers, okay? But then my brother started moving out of the house, and he left his N64. He's like, I don't need it anymore. I'm like, really? And it had freaking Ocarina of Time, first of all. That game blew me away, because I saw him playing it, and I didn't realize how fucking big it was. Because I thought I beat the game after you were the kid. And then you get to the Master Sword, and then you have 80% of the game left. And Beetle Adventure Racing. Super great game. Those are some of the games. And I didn't retain any of those games. I don't know what happened. It's hard to keep up with this stuff. As you get older, though, you start appreciating it, and it's easier to hold on to these things. Hold on to these games and memories.
We live in the moment when we're younger and don't really have any great appreciation. Oh, I beat this game. Okay, time to trade in and buy Star Fox Adventures. This is a good deal. It wasn't, but... It
wasn't a good deal.
Oh, well.
Especially since it didn't work and I fell through the floor into oblivion, but... Oh, well.
Welcome to Kaoa Krozoa Palace.
Well, but now's our time to make new memories. And we made a new memory just last week, didn't we?
Sure did. With our first ever Video Shorts sanctioned Melee tournament. We had competitors, a lot of from the Vidya house. If you don't know who the Vidya house is, it'd be members of the household that contains Rudy Was Taken, Twix, Burn Faraday, although Burn Faraday is lost in the Final Fantasy XIV void. One day he'll be reclaimed, but been about 3 years. I think he's gone for a while. We'll return one day. But a lot of their friends, such as a man named Phil, who took it all in a grueling set at the end against our own Scientext. We also had competitors such as Vince with Bees. We had Fox playing. We had Lunaticker playing. A lot of fun faces. So it was a good tournament. And this is also fun with the acknowledgement that this is an online tournament. So if anyone had a bad connection or maybe lived in England or, like deep California while most of us were on the East Coast, oh well. We just, had to live the lag. We've seen it in Smash where the lag happens, but, you kind of go into an online tournament knowing that lag is going to happen. And it's not like we were playing for like $100 or, anything big. It was just bragging rights fun, There's no reason to be mad. But I do remember having a point where I had a literal 1,000 millisecond delay on my inputs, and with Super Smash Bros. Melee, that's kind of a technical game. Kind of need to do a lot of things quickly. I got 6. Fifth place tie. Yeah, I guess I got 5th. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You a fan of the Melee?
I played a lot of it when it was new, and I played a lot against bots and thought I was pretty good, but I didn't really have many other people to play with, so I kind of dropped off. And I was really turned off by the whole, getting back into it with all the wave dashing and all that. I don't know. It just kind of went above what I really wanted to have.
I can safely confirm to you that you don't need the wave dashing, because I got 5th without it. But
yeah, but no, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a solved game. It takes a while to kind of catch up to that. And I'm not that big on it, honestly. If I'd be more interested in anything, it'd be Smash 4 anyway. Yeah. Just because it has, a competent Mewtwo. But that's about it, Yeah,
if you check the challenge, which you can find on the updates page at videoshorts.com, and the challenge for the results, it's almost clear as day to me that if you draw a line directly above my name, you have Vince, Rudy, Swix, Cyan, and Phil from Vidya House. Those guys are a mile ahead of me in skill level, and I'd argue that the people below me too, like Novin, Lambert, Fox, are really damn good. And some of the Vidya House guys that they said pretty much after every loss, if this was offline, I'd win. They said it a lot, but it was almost disrespectful to an extent, but it was whatever.
They take their Melee seriously over there.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, even a little bit of lag on Melee can really harm you, but take a guess at the top characters that were used. I don't know if you caught the event.
I caught some of it. I would go Fox, Marth, and Falco.
You'd be mostly correct. There was at least 3 different Marths present. I know that Vince uses Captain Falcon, Cyan, Swix, and one of the other Video House guys is using Marth. Our champion, though, who went under the tag of Fulfy Phil. I don't know why it's full. All right. Phil used a lot of characters. He had a lot of proficiency in Marth, Sheik, and Falco, which is what he used to counter the Marth that Cyan presented. As I mentioned before, it was a pretty grueling set. It went the distance. They fought each other in winners finals. Cyan won 3-1. Then they fought each other in grand finals, and Phil reset the bracket 3-1, and then another 3-1 for Phil at the very end. It was a lot of fights, but good efforts by everyone. I believe that some people, alluding to that I would have won if this were offline statement, were saying that they'd like to do an offline Melee tournament at MACFest. So maybe we'll see if they can back up their talk for real. Who knows?
Yeah, we're going to have to coordinate that a bit if we're actually going to go there and do that.
We're going to have to figure it out.
No doubt.
To look forward to, though. Lots of things to look forward to, as a bright horizon is ahead of us. But as far as today goes, I think that's about it.
That's a wrap. So I guess that's where we'll draw the line. So thanks everyone for tuning in to the Video Shorts BuzzCast. I'll do that again. Line? All right. Thanks for tuning in this week to the Video Shorts BuzzCast with your host, loldbz and Ghoulston. Next week, next bye week, we'll be talking about who knows what, but definitely a lot of things coming up on the horizon in September. So keep your eyes peeled and keep it locked on videoshorts.com. Buzz.